Now we're going to show you the pillar technique, the exact progression to engage an offensive player to defeat a block using this technique. If you think about a pillar, it's long, right? And that's the whole goal of, and it's long and it's straight. That's what's going to hold structure. A long, straight pillar can hold a lot of weight, and that's the idea here with this technique. Traditionally, defensive players would be taught to butt and press. They'd headbutt, then press the offensive player. The problem with that is, number one, you're getting close into the offensive player. He can then lift you. If you're trying that against a guy doing the bridge technique properly, it's going to be very difficult to recover. And the other thing is you're hitting your head. We don't want to do that. You don't have to do that. The idea is to gain separation and vision of the field while at the same time disrupting the offensive player. That's very important. So the pillar allows us to do all of those things. And we're going to show you each step-by-step point. The main goal of the pillar is to obviously disrupt, but we want to change the spine angle. So as a blocker's coming forward, he's got a forward lean, and if I strike low to high, boom, I'm going to try to disrupt, and all I have to do is alter that guy's spine to disrupt him. Okay, that's the idea here. We're going to show you each step-by-step progression here as far as the fit goes. The pillar will land a little higher than the bridge. We're going to land just a little higher on the breastplate, because all we have to do is really disrupt the shoulders, right? So we want to land it right about here, if you guys can see this. My thumbs are out, and you'll notice that. We'll talk about the mechanics of the strike, but this is about the right placement for the fit, okay? So we also want to acknowledge the 90-degree rule, okay? That's a principle of contact. What that means is that you want the angle of the arms, okay? So in this case, my forearms here, if you look at that, it should be about 90 degrees, really perpendicular to the center of to the striking surface, okay? So if you see Mike's upright, I'm landing this strike at about 90 degrees to him. So that'll be the same case if he's coming from low to high. So as Mike comes out of his stance, boom, I'm coming here, right? I want to fit that hand, I want to fit that pillar at about 90 degrees. That's going to be our best fit, or our best angle anyway, to get his body from this angle to this angle. And that's what is really important for disruption. So we understand that the fit occurs here. Let's talk about the actual surface of the hand that strikes the opponent. A lot of times, guys are running around with bad fingers, banged up. It's probably because they've been hitting with their fingers. So we talk about the tip of the spear, and that is exactly this. It's the surface, the optimal surface of the hand that we want to strike an opponent with. It's the most dense and strongest and really the safest part of the hand that you want to strike with. And it's not just the general heel of the hand. People say, yeah, hit with the heel of the hand. Yes, but we want to hit with the tip of the spear, and that is this area here. It's the part of the palm, the heel of the palm, opposite of the side of the thumb. So that's very important. If I hit with my thumb and I say I'm going to generally hit with the heels of the hand, well, that could subject my thumb to some injuries. We don't want to torque the thumb. This is the dense part of the hand. It aligns with the ulna bone. And if we're doing things right, we're going to generate more force transfer on impact and be more effective. Also, it takes our fingertips and our fingers out of the picture, so it's not the first point of contact. Our fingers are going to come in later when we want to grab to secure control. So by striking with that surface point, we protect our fingers and we can ensure the most power on impact. So by now you've kind of get the pattern here. We're trying to make sure we have a certain posture. Posture and mechanics are critical for power output and control. So when we're striking with the pillar, we want to make sure the posture of our arms is no different, because we can have all the lower half and everything can be on point. We could have a great uncoiling of the hips, all that stuff can be present. But if we have a flare of the elbows, that is collapsible. We're just not doing ourselves any service by letting our elbows flare out. So a lot of times you'll see coaches will tell guys to get their thumbs up, which is not a bad coaching point, except for here's the problem. I can still strike with my thumbs up, but my elbows come out. So we want to talk about rotation of the elbows. And as we come through with our strike, we're going to get some rotational force as we're coming up for the uncoil. By the way, we do want to land long, but as we come forward, just moments before impact, our thumbs are going to screw out and rotate, and we're going to be striking with the tip of the spear. So a good point to think about is, if you're looking at your elbow, the elbow point to the top of the joint line right there. Imagine if you had an imaginary stick or a straw going through that. So the straight line like this, right through the elbow. You want to try to get that as close to vertical as possible. Very important for power, okay? The more that my elbow flares, the weaker the output and the less control. And obviously, if I have my elbows out at all, I don't care how much you bench press, it doesn't matter. In fact, bench press, the only time you're going to be pressing someone on the field is if you're on your back We're teaching you how to engage at a distance with structure. The pillar affords you the most power because it involves the skeletal system as opposed to using weaker muscles like the triceps. So if I'm pressing you, well, really I'm giving something, okay? I become the shock absorber for the offensive player. I don't want to do that. I want to disrupt him right now, stone him with control so I can retain vision. I can disrupt the blocker, soften him, disengage, make a tackle. When we talk about playing long in the certain postures you want to have with the arms, here's a really good test you can kind of give your players. And ultimately, you'll notice as a coach, you got to let the guys feel it. They got to feel the difference so they understand the benefit of what you're telling them. It's not just arbitrary. It has it has real meaning to it. So we're going to show a little test here. Now, Mike's going to do this with your players. I encourage you to do it and try it amongst yourselves. If Mike's thumb is in or up, right, or his thumb is pointed in, his elbows are pointed out. Right now, I can grab the back of Mike's pads and I can pull, and look, that collapses pretty easily. Now, again, it doesn't matter how strong Mike is. It doesn't matter how strong his triceps are. Just the structure there, the mechanics are off. So that's collapsible. So when you kind of put force to that, if you're dealing with a guy at distance, let's say you're engaging a blocker in space, you got a lot of force there. You want to make sure your posture is sound because it's the mechanics, it's the structure, the skeletal structure that's going to provide you that support. It's a buttress for your impact. So you're able to then engage at length. So then if Mike was to change his posture, okay, and do what we're talking about doing, which is rotation, he's got a stick between his elbow and it's pointed vertical as opposed to horizontal. Now, number one, Mike's much longer. He's gained length from his arms, which is important. I can pull all I want. That structure is going to hold him up. He's in great shape. So try this. You have to try this to understand it and see how strong this position is. We are putting you guys in the best position to deliver force to win. This is about performance, but also safety. Safety is a byproduct of that if you guys can get your guys doing this right and doing all the drills with the pillar technique.